You're watching another Nerd Stalker interview. Welcome to another Nerd Stalker interview. Good morning. This is Greg Laurie, aka Social Greg, on Twitter for the Nerd Stalker Media Network. Today, I'm pleased to talk with Eliot Sun, the CEO of a startup called Kloudless, live from Berkeley here on Google Plus Hangouts. Kloudless tries to keep your download folder in check and allows you to connect with your cloud storage in your email. So it's kind of a cool concept, and I'll let Eliot talk a little bit more about that. A little bit about Eliot. Eliot's been a serial entrepreneur with two startups under his belt, and a stint at Research in Motion. Maybe we won't talk about that too much, but AKA BlackBerry, right? And got his bachelor's from UC Berkeley in mathematics and economics. So, hey, good morning, Eliot. Thanks for joining us here on Nerd Stalker, live from Berkeley.
Yeah, thanks, Greg, for having me. Uh, just to point out, the BlackBerry stock today, at least for today, has gone up quite a bit. So we
So
can
you're
talk about BlackBerry today. I'd be happy to.
but you're happy, I guess. So you want to add anything about yourself? You want to tell the Nerd Stalker audience?
That was a great introduction. Covers pretty much everything. I guess other important things to note. My hair is usually a little bit longer than it is now, and I love ice cream, and I'm an Iron Fan geek.
Oh
So
man, oh man. I guess we'll have to have a separate podcast or interview on that. So I
yeah,
love it.
that will be a very long conversation. So.
so so anyway, let's start talking about cloudless and the concept behind that.
Mhm. Yeah, basically the value statement is pretty simple to understand today. We take your favorite cloud storage services like Dropbox, Box, SugarSync, SkyDrive, and a whole bunch of others, and we put them right inside of your email inbox. Today we support Gmail and also the desktop version of Outlook. So basically, you can get all of the cloud storage features right inside your email inbox without having to leave it, which is pretty cool. So if you receive a lot of files, you can send them directly over into cloud storage without having to download and then re-upload it somewhere else. You can also send files as links rather than having to go to the cloud application itself, generate a link, copy it, come back and paste it into an email. So it really streamlines that workflow, which is really important for a lot of people because email, I mean, everyone's been trying to kill it, get rid of it, but it's stuck around, and I think it's going to stick around for a long, long time, and it's very central to everyone's workflow.
No,
People pretty much use it every day.
yeah, I agree. I think, I mean, if you think about it, that's why Facebook wanted you to have their own Facebook URL email, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
They knew
Exactly.
exactly. They knew exactly what was going on, right?
hmm
Email. They would coexist, but they wouldn't kill it. So.
Yep. Exactly.
Uh,
So rather than trying to kill it, we decided to try to upgrade it with some of the new stuff that's happening in the cloud. And one of the biggest growing trends that everyone understands is the cloud storage trend, right? A lot of people use Dropbox, Box as their Drive, the most popular services, and a bunch of others. So I think it was a great way to introduce our product and our grander mission into the market is by starting with email and cloud storage because everyone just understands it. Um,
right.
Probably what Cloudless is becoming really in the long run isn't just a utility to move attachments around to different clouds, but our greater mission is really to make it easy to work across many different kinds of cloud services. So not just cloud storage, but CRM tools, enterprise social tools, project management tools, etc. Really keying in on the fact that we're moving more and more towards purely cloud-based work environments like we're seeing in Chromebooks and Chrome OS, and also purely mobile-based work environments like on your iPad or just your iPhone. A really simple example of the kind of pain that everyone's going to experience is if you're on an iPhone today and you're using a whole bunch of different apps for productivity, it's already really hard to move data from one app into another one and work really seamlessly across more than just one app. So our goal is to make it really easy for everybody to be able to work across all of them very simply.
No, that's a good point because I think desktop you kind of could live with because you just, like I said, alluding earlier, you just fill
hmm
your download box up.
Yeah.
Eventually, when you get frustrated, you delete it all. But
Yep.
but on the mobile, it's totally different environment, right? You don't
hmm
have this 500 gigabyte storage. you know.
Yeah, exactly. And more importantly, you don't have that desktop interface either, where you can just throw a lot of stuff on there and then drag and drop it to different places. So the convenience factor of that kind of organization and the ability to see a lot of data and manipulate it all at once just doesn't happen on mobile.
So it's
Um,
kind of cool, right? You're kind of platform agnostic in a way by
mhm.
doing it through Gmail, right?
Yeah, ideally, what we're trying to be, we're definitely not sticking with just one service. So you'll see us expanding rapidly past just Gmail. A lot of the things we're doing on mobile is going to start moving us past that kind of an idea. Um, we really want to remain agnostic and become that pipeline that exists between all different kinds of services that makes them work really well together.
Now, with all the mail services that you're providing services for, there must be a lot of development on your side that you guys have to keep up with, right?
Yeah, it's not easy working with APIs. That's definitely one of the technical challenges for sure. Every single one is a little bit different, and people update them all the time. So it's really important for us to keep up to date, which kind of is our business.
Right,
We're in the
right.
business of connecting clouds, and in order to do that, we have to be really knowledgeable about it. So it's both a challenge and just one of those things that's by nature our business. So
Now, let's talk a little bit about the API. You got me kind of curious here.
sure.
You're following APIs probably a lot closer than most people, quite frankly. I mean, what some challenges have you seen dealing with APIs and even notification of changes? I hear a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff about notification of changes. It's not like the old software realm where, I was a product manager and we did software and the problem, we just had version control, right? It was really
Right.
easy, right? But I see this like API thing just open loop. They decide to just change it on a moment's notice, and they
Yeah.
don't know who the partners are because they don't know who's using it.
hmm
So I don't know. What, you have some comments about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see that a lot with some younger companies, some smaller companies that are just starting out their platform plays, right? Because platform is a really big deal. We've seen Box and Dropbox is really good. Even Salesforce. I think Salesforce is probably the best example of a company that unleashed a platform as a service that allows other people to build on their APIs, and some awesome apps come out of it. So it is an important environment, and it's very valuable for these kinds of companies. And I would say that the more mature the API gets, and the more resources a company dedicates to the platform team, that these updates are actually communicated pretty well with the developers
Mm.
that are building on it. But as you mentioned, a lot of these smaller companies that are exposing public APIs, and we're probably going to be one of them as well. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to build up that developer relationship and just train your company to be really good at communicating not just with customers now, but also with the developers that are building on your platform. Um,
Mm.
and one of the biggest challenges, I would say, and I think this is going to continue and become an increasingly large problem, is that there's no standard for APIs. So if you look at the Dropbox API and you look at the Drive API, they're radically different, and there's different functionalities that you can get out of them. And the way that you implement them are also pretty different. So because they're all non-standard, they require individual attention, which can be pretty resource intensive, and it'll take up a lot of time and can be pretty challenging. So as more and more cloud services are created, and as they see value in becoming a platform, it's going to be an increasingly large problem. And actually, that's one of the things that we're hoping to solve is, since we're in the business of connecting clouds and everything for the end user, like you and I, we could also do that for developers. So potentially we could be at some point creating a standardized API that easily allows third-party developers to tap into a whole bunch of different cloud services at once without having to deal with the intricacies of each individual service. So
No,
could
that's
be seeing that from Cloudless too.
wow, wow, yeah, I can't wait. We're gonna keep up with you guys a little bit. So let's, if you guys just joined us, we're talking with Eliot Sun, CEO of Cloudless, and so let's get into your business model a little bit and
Sure.
talk about the company. Where are you guys based, and size, and we can talk about a little bit more after that.
Yeah. So business model wise, we are taking a consumerization approach to the market. And I mean
Hmm.
that in more of a Yammer-like way rather than a Dropbox-like way, and I'll explain that a little bit. So our end user target really is the business user. We see productivity tools as being most used in business, um, and there's a lot of opportunity from what I've seen speaking to a lot of IT admins and ops. As the company is adopting more and more cloud services, it becomes a challenge for them to have insight, control, and maintain compliance in the data that's flowing around to all these different kinds of cloud services. So basically, if Cloudless can successfully become a pipeline that exists between multiple cloud services, we can effectively monitor those as well. So the upsell for us is an administrative panel that we can give to an IT admin so that they can have better control and see what kind of data is being used in the company and how it's being circulated in or out of the company. So that's really what we're going after. So the strategy today is to offer our service for free. So if you go to our website, you can download it for free, install it, and we're trying to get really good penetration into business. So this is very similar to what Yammer did. They'd get a couple users within a company and then have really great network effects that allow it to spread within that organization. And once they got to a certain critical mass, they would send their sales guy out to that organization and say, hey, X% of your company is using this, they're doing these things on it, and it's really great. You should have better control over this, and also offer the rest of your company the ability to have that same kind of productivity. So we imagine the same kind of upsell. And I say it's more like Yammer versus a Dropbox because Dropbox also had their freemium model that was really successful for them. They had really, really great viral effects, which allowed them to convert a whole bunch of their free users into paid users. And that kind of model requires a really specific conversion rate into premium. And since we see so much opportunity at the end of the line in upselling to business, we're paying more attention to that versus the upselling the individual. So more like Yammer, less like Dropbox.
Yeah, so I see. It was basically get the major consumers hooked into it through adding it to their browser, right? And then hopefully a bunch of those are business people, which normally they are, and maybe they want to use your service in a different way at the business level, right?
Right, exactly. And we're seeing some pretty good success. I'd say about a third of our users right now are using Cloudless within a business organization. So we're definitely hoping to grow that number and build up some network effects. But yeah, the end goal is definitely to make the product successful in a business.
Oh, that's good. So when did you guys start?
Yeah, so we founded Cloudless a while ago now, about 2 years in August 2011.
Yeah, I think in startup dog years, that's like 4 years or something like that.
Yeah, it feels like that sometimes. It feels like I should have a lot less hair than I do now, so I feel lucky in a way.
Well, you don't want me to take off my hat, so.
Looks like you got a lot, so I wouldn't be worried. I'm sure you're going strong. But so yeah, so we were founded in August 2011. Myself and 3 other founders, we were actually classmates at UC Berkeley. In 2008, we actually started a company together. So we've known each other. We had known each other for 5 years before we started Cloudless, which is,
wow.
I think it's a little unusual. You don't really see that too much in Silicon Valley. 4 people sticking together for that long, but we somehow managed to do that, which I think has done a lot for our culture, just because we understand each other so well. So there was one aspect of our business that we didn't have to worry about too much. But from there, we grew to 8 people, and we're still located just a block, actually, from UC Berkeley campus, right outside the downtown Berkeley BART station. So it feels like we've never left college, and physically, I guess we've never have. So it's been great, and usually we hire between 4 to 10 interns at any given time, just because Cal is so close by. And it makes a lot of sense to utilize the talent there. So that also kind of keeps the culture more collegiate, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty
that's
unique.
a good point. I think you're tapping on a known resource because you went there, and you're tapping on some pretty good talent coming out of UC Berkeley.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy system to go through. So you can count on the graduates being pretty darn good.
Yeah, no, that's good. So you started, and you started a few years ago, which is about
Hmm.
2011, and let's talk about a little bit about your roadmap. As much as you could
Sure.
share, of course, about
Yeah, definitely.
where you see maybe not only a service like yours playing in the cloud arena, but also you kind of didn't touch on it earlier, but there's a kind of a productivity play here for all of us, right? Because
Hmm.
on a mobile device, we're able to now seamlessly put files that come in on our email or outside of our desktop environment and move it to our cloud storage, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So I guess we could kind of backtrack a little bit and look at our previous roadmap, and I think it helps understand what we're actually going after in the future. So one thing that I didn't mention is that Cloudless actually started out as a cross-cloud search engine. So we were looking at the
Wow.
same, yeah. So not too many people know that, and we've kind of a lot of people thought of us as search for a long time, so we purposely kind of shut down our search feature for a while. But
Okay.
so we started out as search, so thinking about the same kind of problem, really, just from a different angle. And we were thinking, as people are using more and more cloud services, they're generating a ton of data that's just going everywhere in the cloud, and at at some point, they're going to have difficulty managing that stuff across all of them. So they're going to need some kind of unified search engine that can search across all their private data. And that's something that Google can't do, right? Google does that great for public data, but they don't search for anything outside of their own ecosystem. So we needed something that could pull in stuff from Dropbox, Box, Salesforce, etc.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, so we were thinking about that, which I think is still going to be a big problem in the future. But so search is one of those features that we're going to put back on a roadmap at some point, because I do feel like it's an important feature to support what we do now. Um, so right now you can move attachments, as we said, from email to the cloud. You can share things from the cloud directly through email. So we've done a great job of integrating those two kinds of cloud services.
Nice.
Um, we're moving more and more towards other kinds of productivity software like project management tools, for example, like Basecamp, Asana. We've got a whole slew of CRM tools that people use a lot, marketing tools. So there's a lot of opportunity out there for us to integrate with other services. We're also focusing in a lot on mobile. I think
Hmm. I
I
see.
think it's already long been known that any company that's avoiding or not thinking about mobile is probably not thinking about the right thing, because we're just seeing mobile penetration take off like crazy in enterprise, and I've actually been a little bit surprised too, as to how important it's become within business. So that's definitely something that we're keying in on. And you'll see us doing a good amount of platform partnerships with some of the larger cloud storage services out there. Um, so we'll be making a bunch of announcements early
Wow, that's
Q1 next
cool.
year. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, no worries. I'll be tracking you closely, kind of like how the way you guys track APIs, I'll track Cloudless that way. So anyway, I think this was great interchange, great introduction to your company. Let's close the interview out, and thanks for your time, Elliot. So how do people reach you and get to know more about Cloudless?
Yeah, definitely visit our website. It's Cloudless with a K, if that's important to know. You can download Cloudless for free. It's currently available for Chrome and Firefox users at this point. It's one-click install, so it's very easy to get on board. And it's integrated super well with Gmail, so you won't even notice it's there really, because it feels like Gmail should have had those features to begin with.
Yeah, I know.
Um, yeah, definitely also follow us on Twitter. We have a ton of updates on there all the time. Our Twitter handle is at Cloudless, again with a K. And my Twitter handle is at Sun Eliot, Suneliot, in case you'd
Cool.
like to see the stuff that I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, you have. I think you have a pretty good vision, and I really appreciate it. Anyway, um, that was Eliot Sun of Cloudless, slimming down our hard drive space of the download file variety. So, anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. This is Greg Gloria, aka Social Greg, on Twitter for the Nerd Stalker Media Network, where we believe in tech, startups, design, and you. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and be careful out there. Thanks, Elliot.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, take care.